Welcome to the new and improved features for Tekla Structures versions 19 and 19.1. You probably already know how easy it is to model in concrete foundations in Tekla Structures. At the click of a button, simply add in pad footings or strip footings. By using the pore management tools, Tekla will now automatically merge concrete of the same grade together as one object. These can of course still be edited as the pads and the strips that they were modelled in as. Also, by using the pore management tools, it is now really simple to add your pore breaks wherever you desire in your in-situ concrete. And if you need, you can also add different information to each of the pores. The pore breaks can be displayed on the drawing, and you can add dynamic information tags for each pore area to output exactly what information you want to display. This can be added using a part mark or an associative note as shown here. From Tekla Structures version 19, you can insert PDF drawings right from the File menu. You can rescale and reposition them, and then model in Tekla objects according to the PDF that you've been issued. It converts them to DWG files and stores them in the same folder, and then inserts them as reference models. Tekla now has a large range of Hilti and Ramset bolts to choose from for the required situation. These are now represented as they would be on site with the correct bolt length, embedment and projection. Tekla also has new selection switches for construction lines and reference models. We've also included a handful of useful weld prep components, as well as updating and improving a whole host of existing custom components that have been available since versions 17 and 18. The Model Organizer is now included in all versions of Tekla and is a very useful tool for model selection and for comparing or checking various properties of the modelled objects with ease. This list can be separated and organised by any property that has been chosen to display. As you can see, this will then update the selection in the model according to the list of selected members. The object browser has been added for you to easily customize reports of specific information about the selected objects and then export it to Excel files. It is very user-friendly with its drag and drop functionality, and it's best used alongside Tekla's Model Organizer so it can be easily driven by simple and organized model selections. As you can see here, we can group these selections, and at the click of a button we can export the results to an organised Excel spreadsheet. For interoperating between Tekla and Trimble machines and various other site equipment, layout points can be added using the Layout Point plugin. These can be adjusted to suit with different colours, shapes, sizes and descriptions. The Layout Manager can then be used to obtain and output a list of all the layout points modelled into the known positions. This list will automatically populate depending on what's been modelled in, and these can all be output in text files of various formats to suit the Trimble devices and all other site survey machinery. We've also included a range of auto default settings for the 141 component, which will automatically assign the correct GPB bracket or AC bracket depending on what cold roll members the connection is used for. These can easily be adjusted if needed, and the settings have been pre-saved using data from the cold roll catalogues. Using the improved Attach Part tool, you can now not only combine objects with other objects to create unusual shapes, but by doing so it will now allow you to create parts with more than 99 points along its edge. The new function allows you to easily detach these parts or even explode a group of attached parts. The Help buttons, or F1 in Tekla version 19, will now take you to the new Tekla User Assistance site. This is an online help that is constantly being updated and improved. It has all the same info as the old Tekla help, but displayed as an HTML format, it gives you an easier interface to navigate and search for what you need. You will also find instructions on the product, support articles and help, and videos to increase your Tekla knowledge. Tekla User Assistance is also available as an offline download if required. Welds can now be presented better in version 19 by switching the welds to display as exact. They will now show the exact contour and shape of the weld in the model, and by selecting them they will also show the weld symbol and size, much like what is shown in the drawings for welds. Welds will also export clearly in Tekla BIM site from version 19.1 and onwards, as well as grid labels and grid selections. In version 19.1, a user INI setting can be set to allow you to use specific view creation settings pre-drawing creation. These will allow you to pre-save and set different view properties for the different views in the drawing to be applied by default before drawing creation. Different dimension settings can also be applied to these different views to dimension up different objects or bulk groups depending on the properties defined in a model filter. All in all, this gives you much better control over the default Tekla drawing production. As you can see from this example, the default version 19 drawing chooses itself what views and in which dimension lines to set out objects. In version 19.1, by using this setting, you can assign rules to all of these objects or bolts to separate dimensions for certain objects in certain views, and their presentation, to make drawing production much clearer by default. The same can be applied for concrete drawings, and instead of using the default dimensioning and views, you can assign different rules and settings to fully control what gets output and how it gets displayed in each view on the drawing. In case you are unaware, in drawings you can now add a whole array of user-defined attributes or any other obtainable property of the part to your part marks or associative notes. For example, you could use the finish or the length and add specific info from the user fields to be displayed by default. You can also now flip the outside dimensions to the opposite side if needed, straight from the right-click menu. Also, when making revisions, there are now many more options for checking, approval, descriptions, etc., including a drop-down selection for dates. Also, when closing drawings, there is now a tick option to save snapshots. These snapshots can make it much easier and quicker to find the more complex drawings, and it's also a good way to check the previous revision when opening up a drawing that has been modified. Model templates can also be created with ease now simply from the File menu for easily being able to customize starting points for projects of various types and different clients. Finally, we can now not only import and export to Tekla BIM site, but we can also do an export to Trimble SketchUp. There's been some great additions to Tekla for versions 19 and 19.1. If you wish to see similar videos on previous versions improvements, you can click on the link provided. If you need any more information, you can always contact us at Pacific Computing.